Hello, fellow YouTubers. It's good to be back. Well, I have to say to you guys, the Storm Drone 6 is no longer here. Unfortunately, a sudden gust of wind actually picked it up, flipped it over, and crashed it into a tree, leaving it into a million pieces. Sure, I could have fixed it. I could have had the parts shipped from HeliPower. But you know what? It had its time. I'm pretty sick and bored of videography or video drones. It's time now to do something a bit more exciting. Welcome to my new quad. It is a full racing quad. Its maximum thrust speed is 109 kilometers an hour. Not that I'd ever fly it like that, but I'm sure people like Mr. STEELE can and would, or they wouldn't approve of this drone. This is a Banggood clone. It is an X drone. It's called the Martian 2. All the links will be in description, and I'm just letting you know that I receive absolutely no support or money from Banggood for reviewing these products. I find this quad frame absolutely amazing. Sure, it is a copy or a clone of the Reptile made by I think it's Immersion RC, and it's the drone frame of choice by Mr. STEELE. I hope he doesn't mind, but of course remember this is a clone, a copy of the Reptile. I chose this frame mainly because it only costs $35 shipped to Australia. It is my first build, so I didn't want to invest a lot of money to begin with until I've learned actually how to build a racing quad, and I think I've been pretty successful here. I've actually put some LEDs on the back. It lights up purple. That's the receiver for the radio antenna. I've got a TBS, a black sheep antenna. These antennas are the drone racing drone antenna of choice. They cost you about $35 for two. I'll just bring it a bit closer so you can see. So it is actually it is a real one. It's not a clone or a copy. It is a real TBS or Team Black Sheep antenna. I use a 600 milliwatt video transmitter. That's it right there. That costs you about $13. I'm running an F3 board. It's cost me about $35. I'm running a PDB. I'll show the PDB, well, the power distribution board. Here we go. Here it is. This is the power distribution board. It actually has 5 watts and 12 watt pads right in there. I don't know if you could see them, but yeah, those 4 there are the grounds and the power supply for 5 volts and 12 volts. The 5 volts powers the flight controller or the F3 board that's right at the top there with the little red things actually plugged into it. This is the power distribution board. It only costs you about $5. So I bought 2 because you never know when you might need another one. It takes a month to have them shipped from Banggood. I bought some pretty good ESCs, that's electronic speed controllers, but these ones here are the 30 amp and they're BL helis, and I love BL helis. First time using them and I absolutely love them. The one that I've actually got on here, because you notice this is where they're usually mounted, the ESCs, and these ones will fit absolutely perfectly. I've got a 4-in-1. It's the same one, but it's just 4 built into one. So it actually goes, it's right at the bottom underneath the power distribution board. This is my first build, and I learned a lot doing it, and I actually discovered that it's actually not that hard. Yeah, you don't even, now this is the first time I've actually done any sort of soldering. Okay, so even someone who's never done actual things, these are the props. I bought you buy 10 of these props for $10. These are done by King Kong. I think that's what they're called. You get 10 pairs. They're two different, they're clockwise propellers and they're counterclockwise propellers. The easy way to tell it what way they turn is the high side is what faces into the turn. Okay, so this is the high side. See, it's actually raised. Okay, that goes into the turn. Okay, so this one would be a clockwise, and you see this one here, this one's on the opposite side, and the raised side goes into the turn, so this one's an anti-clockwise propeller. There's different types you can buy. These are another type. These are a bit more expensive. These cost you about $3 for two, so you'll end up paying $6 for just for two. These are the bullnose ones. I actually really like these ones more than the King Kongs. These are 50-42 angles, and they have these numeric numbers. The 42 at the end means how steep the angle is that faces into the wind. Okay, I'm trying to keep the mojo so everyone can understand exactly what these things mean, these symbols and words and abbreviations. I've also got one of these rat's tails that I bought off Banggood. Cost you a couple of bucks, because I'm actually going to, when I blow the ESC in this thing, the electronic speed control that's at the bottom, I'm going to put these ESCs on, and I'm actually going to have the power coming out the back and actually pointing up like that, so I can actually run the battery cable out the back here rather than down the side. Reason being is it'll actually, because it'll be a flexible one, that in a crash I'm not going to rip the power thing off the power distribution board and throw away the board. Okay, so that's what I plan on doing. When I started it up, you heard the Imperial March tone that the ESCs produce. That's programmable through the BL Heli suite. I'll show you in a minute what all that is. That's the beep beeps, the emergency buzzer. But yeah, that's just show you that it does actually fly and does work, even though I crashed it. Some of the other things I got. Now I chose the 1.3 or 1300 milliwatts amount in the battery. Mr. STEELE, who's very popular on YouTube, says bigger batteries aren't always the best, and I find flying these, they're so light that they actually keep you in the air longer than if you had actually bought a bigger battery, so that kind of makes sense. This green thing I got on the front's actually the GoPro mount. So this thing will actually carry a GoPro. I'm not really into flying with a GoPro, not until I learn how to fly a bit. I also have the camera right here. Again, all the links to all the products that I purchased through Banggood will be in the description in case you want to have a go at building one yourself. Okay, now you can build these as cheap as $100. Okay, this one is more like an upgraded version. I'll leave a link in the description to UAV Futures, where I actually used his video as a tutorial on how to build my first racing quad. I found it very thorough, very good. So thanks again, Stu, for helping me build my mini quad. I hope you check out my video as well, because I'll leave a link to Stu to check it out, so he can see that his video actually helped somebody else join the hobby and learn how to build these drones. Now these drones are actually, they're really easy. They only have about 12 or 14 components, and once you learn about having to solder, it made it so much easier. So I can build as many of these as likes. The beauty about actually knowing how to build one is you know how it works, you know how how you put it together, and the best thing, you know how to repair it if it breaks, because you will crash it and you will break stuff. I've already had to modify this quite a couple of times because either the antenna kept getting bent. I used to have the antenna up here, and mounting it up here is pretty deadly because every time you crash, you bend your antenna. I did have a extension on the rear antenna, and everyone online says, oh, make sure you put a pigtail on it. But you know what? The pigtail, it actually got in the way more than it actually helped. So in a crash, it would move the pigtail around like crazy, and the antenna would be all sorts of directions. It even broke the zip tie. The zip tie was attached to the pigtail. It even broke that because it's just motion around. I know that's the idea of a pigtail, to save your antenna, but if you're always constantly fiddling with the thing to straighten it out and to move it back into place, then what's the point of having a pigtail? So if I break the antenna, I break the antenna. Okay, lesson learnt. But at the moment, I'm fine with the way it looks, the way it handles, and I invite everyone to have a go at trying to build their own racing drone. These are my goggles here that I built. These are a Hobby King goggle setup. You have to put your own lenses and everything in it. Here, I'll turn the screen on for you so you can actually see. I actually put a little on and off switch so I don't have to keep pulling the battery wire out. Okay, I'll try to get this in the shot for you. And there you go, there's the little picture. Don't want to put me in the angle. Okay, let's have a look. So as you can see, you're looking at my lounge room. I try to get it in the shot, and that's what the video image looks like inside the goggles. It's a pretty good image for the price. The goggles only cost you about $50 Australian. And the receiver there is the Hobby King receiver. It actually, on the screen display, will actually tell you how much power is left in your battery, which I think is pretty awesome. It is a 32 channel receiver. There's no race band, but I don't plan on doing any racing anyway, so I don't see the sense in having it. Is there anything else I need to talk about? Probably not. Please like and subscribe. These videos do take a while to edit and put up for use. It does cost money and internet, so any help or support you can give by liking and subscribing is very much appreciated. Stand by for my second flight test. And before I go, I'll just show you the software that I've actually, because you can flash your own software. You've got to flash everything onto the flight controller. So let's go over to the computer and have a look. Okay, these are the many softwares that you can actually flash onto your flight controller that's on your quad. It's actually plugged in at the moment. There's a little mini USB port at the back of the flight controller, so you can have direct access to your computer. Okay, so this is Betaflight. This is the one that most professional racers use. This is BL Heli. Now this is the software for your ESCs. Okay, when you have BL Heli ESCs, and that basically updates them and just makes them more efficient. This is CleanFlight. Now CleanFlight's really good. You see, Betaflight's actually the testing ground for CleanFlight. So once they've tested it and worked out all the bugs, they move it from there to there. Okay, now why would I install Betaflight over CleanFlight when this is the finished product? Well, you know what, I installed CleanFlight and it's very complicated to tune, because they expect that you would know how to tune your thing. With Betaflight, everything's already pre-tuned for you. You just load the software and it just flies brilliantly. So I'm sticking with Betaflight. This is iNav. Now iNav is for if you want to put a GPS. Now I bought a GPS for my drone. I had it installed, but it really only offers you 2 or 3 extra flight modes that I wouldn't really use, like things like return to home, hover, yeah, those sort of things that are often found in DJI, because I think DJI are actually using iNav in their flight controllers. Okay, like things I've learned. iNav, it's really good software for GPS drones, but it's not so good for racing drones. And the reason being is when you install iNav, you lose the top end of your motors. So instead of your motors actually going to 2000, it only goes to 1850. So it turns your racing drone into basically a GPS navigational drone. And I didn't like that. I mean, I didn't invest in, you know, high-powered ESCs and motors to lose all that. So I took the GPS unit off and just installed Betaflight. This is your MWOSD. This is if you want on-screen displays, like you can install them. Now you can even buy your flight board with it already installed. So you connect your video transmitter and your camera to your flight controller, and it puts it through an on-screen display that's actually built onto your board. I had a flight controller that actually had that built in, but unfortunately I burnt the board doing something silly with the pins. So I actually destroyed that board. I'm going to make a smoke stopper device, which I'll show you once I built it. It's going to cost about $10 to make, and I really should have found that out before I even started building one. So my suggestions is, if you're going to start building your racing drone, build yourself a smoke stopper device. I'll leave another link in the description for the smoke stopper in case you want to build one for yourself like I'm doing. So they're the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 softwares that are available through the App Store for your flight controller, and they're freely available. You are able to make donations to the people that actually make and produce these. Please give them a donation. I've given a donation of $5 or whatever you want, so they can keep inventing and fixing bugs and just continue on with the research. So I'm going to open up Betaflight, so now we can have a look at the flight controller drone actually working in Betaflight. So you double click on it, it opens up Betaflight. We'll just enlarge the screen. You click the connect button, and there's my drone, and I prove it's all live. So I'll move the drone. Okay, I'm moving the drone now, and actually you can see the drone moving. Now what it's doing is it's using the onboard sensors. Okay, so if you turn the drone, it actually turns. Okay, so yeah, I just thought I'd show you that because no one else seems to be actually showing the movement of the drone as it moves on the screen in any YouTube videos. Now it's just habit of mine, I always lay the drone flat, and you click on calibrate accelerometer, because I just recalibrate it every time I connect it to the computer. And this teaches the drone what level feels like, so it can stay level in some of your modes. Okay, these are the ports that are actually on the flight controller, and I'll just show you up here. This one actually has the GPS port, so this is the GPS port when you plug your GPS into your flight controller, and that just turns it on. Configuration, this is where you switch stuff on, etc, etc. See, I'm using D-Shot 300. Okay, now the new ESCs that I bought, they actually run D-Shot 600, so it's even more responsive. Okay, and we scroll down here. Okay, see, I have an accelerometer, so I've turned on the accelerometer, the barometer and the magnetometer, which all appear up here at the top, so you can actually see them, that they're all turned on, etc. Okay, this is your, when I plug a battery in, it has a battery monitor. So I'll plug the battery in for you. You'll see it actually come live. So even when it's connected to the computer, it's actually completely active. Just focus in, there we go. These things here, that's the fail-safe, because whenever the transmitter isn't on, it always puts it in fail-safe. Okay, let's go to PID tunings. Now, I just use default settings. It's fine for me. I'm not going to be fiddling with any of this. It's all pre-done for you. This is your receiver. When you turn your receiver on, all these turn live and actually shows you what switches are on what auxiliary channels. Okay, these are your modes. These are the modes that I programmed. If they got something written there, that's the switches I've allocated on. I've actually programmed an arm switch, and there's your arm switch up there. So whenever you turn your arm switch on, this switch will move all the way over here. So the modes I've actually set up are arm, air mode, anti-gravity, angle, horizon, head free, barometer, magnetometer, fail-safe switch. I've got a beeper switch. So they're all the modes I use. This here is the motors for when you calibrate ESCs. Okay. So when you're first connected to the computer, you need to calibrate ESCs in order to get it operational. Let's see. This is like it's like your control thing for your computer. What's it called now? Okay. Your command prompt, like you know, your computer's got like a command prompt. This is command prompt. Okay, this is your command prompt for Windows. Okay, and this is your command prompt for Betaflight. So you can actually get it to read all your data. So you type in dump, and then it'll restart it. Okay, and these here are all my settings, okay, for my drone. And you can actually copy and paste the entire thing and save it onto your notepad. So if anything drastic happens and you crash your drone and you just lose your data, you can just put it back on. Or say you buy a new flight controller because yours is damaged, you can just copy and paste. When you connect the new flight controller up to the computer, you can just copy and paste all these things in here, click run or enter, and it'll actually just reinstall them onto your new flight controller, which is, I think, it's an awesome feature. So you never really actually left high and dry. Okay, I hope that has helped a lot of people with understanding race drones. I like to keep my videos really easy and laid back and casual. I'm not out to impress people, so if my videos seem a bit amateurish, I mean them to be that way. Okay, so I can show you BL Heli. Okay, this is BL Heli. Okay, and you clicked read setup. Okay, and there's all my ESCs, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and you can set like your you can update your firmware, you can change your ringtone, you change these numbers through the sliders here. Okay, I can even like bring my beacon strength up. Okay, but I'm not going to worry. Okay, and by changing this number here, you change your tones. So you make it do, I just like the Imperial March. It makes me laugh every time I start up the drone. Okay, that's BL Heli. You say you want to flash all the ESCs. See, it identifies your ESC type there. You select what version. Okay. D-shot commands 667. Okay, cancel. What am I up to? What D-shot? Oh, it's got a new update. So let's update my ESCs, eh? Okay. New D shot, there we go. Click flash. What it's going to do now is it's going to flash all the new firmware onto the ESCs. Okay. One at a time. It's just going to make it more up to date, make them perform better. Yeah, nearly done. Oh, this is good timing. Everyone gets to see me actually flash my ESCs. Now, if it does it successfully, it'll say flash successfully. Okay. Up here it says flash successfully. Yes, everything's good. You just check, make sure it doesn't say failed at any of these points up here. Okay. Okay, we're all good? Yep, we're all good. Let's disconnect. And will automatically restart the drone when you disconnect. Okay. But what we have to do now is every time you flash the ESCs, you need to reconnect to a Betaflight. Go to motors. Okay. I just have to disconnect the power to the drone. Hopefully I won't have any problems here. Okay, what we need to do now is switch this as a safety video. It says all your props are off your drone before you do this. I go, yep, they're all off. Okay, all off. Okay, now you got to put this all the way up. This is calibrating your ESCs. Okay. Put the battery, connect the battery to the drone. Okay, they're all calibrated. Awesome. Okay, now you should be able to go. And it's all ready. It's all got all the new firmware flashed. And that's it. Okay, done. Well, that was a unexpected journey, wasn't it? How to flash your ESCs. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed the video. Stay tuned for the Betaflight test. Straight after this commercial break. Just kidding. Hello my YouTubers, welcome to the second flight of my Marshall 2 drone that I built myself. We're out here at the beautiful hockey soccer field again at Tullybudgera on the Gold Coast. It's a bit chilly out, weather's clear, absolutely no wind, which is perfect. This is my second flight. I've now loaded the Betaflight firmware, which is what everyone seems to be using for their 5-inch racing quads. Hopefully I'll be able to fly this version of the software, as Clean Flight was just too hard to tune. Although it's a really good software, it's just too hard to tune. I had a lot of problems keeping it stable when it was in the air. I had it drifting backwards, forwards, side to side. I thought it might be in some tunings I had. I'm just rubbing my cold nose. But reading online, I found that a lot of people are using Betaflight because of the fact is it's just more stable and easier to control. Okay, let's try some just little hover flights. I'll try to keep it in frame, so just bear with me. Okay. It is a lot more stable. As you can see, I'm pretty rubbish as a pilot. Just going to switch it to headless mode. It's just easier to fly in headless mode if I'm not wearing my FPV goggles. It's very similar to the DJI home lock. Well, it probably is the same. Just trying to get it to stay a bit more stable. I find too, if you just don't fiddle with your ailerons, she will stay really stable in the air. But I am only a new pilot, so of this sort of acro sort of software. The mode is actually angle, which is all your barometer and magnetometer assists. But you know, I'm not really exciting, sorry about that. But I am only learning how to fly a drone, racing drones. I'm used to flying video drones. Okay. Well, I hope you enjoyed that flight. Well, next footage will be us back at home.